Talk about Savvat versus SilverName, two Russian players, and Savvat's the one with the aggressive lineup, and SilverName was targeting control with decks like Death Rattle Hunter, Quest Rogue, Malagos Togwaggle, but he also has Q-Block, which is a deck that's not very represented, but a deck that Frodan has said multiple times off broadcast to us and on broadcast earlier that he thinks Q-Block was slept on. And not much weapon destruction, so Skull is just going to wreak havoc. But where do you see this matchup going?
Well, you know,
SilverName Zoo Warlock, or sorry, Savvat Zoo Warlock does have a couple things in it. It has the Doomguard and the Despicable Dreadlords, which allow you to fight for board more and push through more often.
Yeah.
Outside of the Leroy, which Leroy's basically only uses to finish the game, Doomguard allows you to push through and protect your board a little bit more.
Yeah, I really like the way that Savvat has pretty much teched his entire aggressive lineup. I think Despicable Dreadlords, you know, one of the reasons that Zoo is such a strong deck is you have a very impactful value-generating minion that also threatens your opponent. Like that's a very big deal, especially when you're talking about Giggling Inventor being such a popular card. You want to be able to slap that bad boy down on an empty board and actually have some impact with it, because that's the lifeblood of Zoo, is having the board. Sometimes you lose it, you got to come back.
Yeah, talk about the stories of these players a little bit. SilverName should be a household name to most players that at least go on Twitch.tv and search in the Hearthstone section.
Yeah.
Probably the most popular Russian streamer out there. He's also got a few results to his name, notably the WCA, I believe in 2016, which he was able to win.
Yeah.
But mostly just focuses on a stream and has those competitive surges every once in a while. Savvat, kind of the opposite, a fellow Russian player, but kind of has floated under the radar for a while. He had a top 4 at Tours, at the Tour stop earlier this year. But other than that, he hasn't done that much.
I feel like you just took all my facts from me.
I'm sorry, man. I just went down the line.
Well, I'll tell you what, you missed Team Spirit for SilverName. The HGG appearances, back-to-back years.
HGG, that's correct.
Yeah, first year was with Stanudachi and Pavel. This year with Fox, Stanudachi and Rendon.
Yeah, and Savvat also is on Barrage. One of his teammates is Sapiwi, which we actually, I think, saw in the Wild Open.
Yeah.
So he's a player that sort of dips into both formats. Showing off his skill in both.
Yeah,
so.
and Meaty is in there.
Meaty, yeah.
43 points for Savvat, 42 points for SilverName coming into the season. And that's a lot of points, even especially considering the fact that 39 was the bottom qualification slot for this event.
Yeah.
That is an absurd number.
Yeah.
How many do you get for first place ladder finishes? Not 39.
Nope.
It's not close to that. But this matchup right here, you're getting a kind of a glimpse of why this entire lineup is going to be so tough for SilverName. He's playing these cards that are meant to be like bust the mid-game open style of cards, and Savvat is getting in under that. There's very little responsive action from SilverName across his lineup. You know, he does have some tools to fight with. I'm looking at his Cube Warlock list right now. It's a couple of Doomsayers, a pair of Hellfires, but the way that you really beat Rogue is you get a big threat online, and then you're able to clear their board and hang on to those last little bits of life as you start to smash them in the face with a big threat. If that doesn't happen, you are in for a very tough game afterwards.
Yeah, and we talked about why Cube Warlock was slept on a little bit in this tournament because of the lack of weapon destruction. Skull would wreak havoc, but he doesn't have Skull. And the deck relying so much on that one card is one of its big weaknesses, and the reason why even Warlock is oftentimes more popular is because you can just find your tools quicker.
Yeah.
You can get Mountain Giant. That Mountain Giant would have been online already. You can fit in taps later on in the game to try and find those Hellfire.
And there's the worst feeling in the world as the defending Q-Block player.
Well,
Mega Wind Fury!
+1/+1 is really the only thing that allows it to get out of range of the Hellfire, which he's probably scared of. But Savvat may have to read that he doesn't have Hellfire, because I feel like Coin Hellfire would have come out on that board.
Yeah,
because going into turn 4, there's really not too many power plays they're going to make, and he would have been able to go into something like Shroom Brewer.
Yeah, now the game has spiraled out of control. Savvat, this is the reason that Vicious Fledgling is included in these styles of aggro decks, is that they prompt a response from the opponent. It's a mini objective, and SilverName, I think, here with great recognition, knowing that he's just got to play this Doomguard and start to really fight as aggressively as possible for board.
Yeah.
Which doesn't really have an option. So now with Defile in hand, well, I was going to say there was, maybe some room here right up until this Fungal Mancer hits the board. Now suddenly it's a bit of a disaster for SilverName. This might be close to the unrecoverable spot.
And no Hooked Reavers in this Cube Warlock deck, so not really much to protect him. Savvat does have 3 of a kind of 5 drops here, no activator for those Vilespine Slayers. So I was gonna say maybe coming up on weak turns, but Giggling Adventure just to protect a 5/5 is actually really sick, especially since he saw Defile.
Oh wow! Well, second Doomguard drawn.
But then he's just out of stuff.
That's true, but you know, you're no longer looking at the board and going, I'm just dead.
Yeah.
Like that was the draw for SilverName. I think he was going to get back into this one. Because, you know, if he drew Skull the Minari here, that's not going to get the job done. If he drew a Void Lord and hopes to draw a way to do something the next turn, that's not going to get it done.
But he did he did ditch the Possessed Lackey with the Doomguard, which means he really just doesn't have much to fight for board. I think well, I guess it would have come a turn later, but I think he needed Possessed Lackey to stay in the hand in order to get one of those Void Lords guaranteed out of his deck in order to fight back.
There is 2 copies of Possessed Lackey in his deck, though.
There is, so he's got a chance to draw one more, but he's running out of time real quick.
I mean, it's got to be pretty much next turn. But, you know, just even the fact that SilverName has a chance to get back into this one is honestly quite astonishing.
Yeah, so he has to kind of count damage here and see what he dies. So he's going to go up to 12 with 6 on the board, 8 represented. Either way, whether he taps or not, he dies to Leroy.
Yeah.
So he's going to fit in that tap regardless because he needs to get close to that Possessed Lackey.
And this is probably the scariest point of the game for Savvat now. You know, he didn't see Skull Minari. Great. But now it's the 7-mana turn for SilverName. You're thinking Lord Godfrey could make an impact here. You're thinking, you know, if he has the second Possessed Lackey and he's got the Dark Pact to go with it, it's got to be that, though. There's nothing else.
He actually makes the trade on the 2/2. Basically, just waste that 2 damage to play around Lord Godfrey because there's nothing to proc it on right now.
Right.
Whereas if you left the 2/2 up, there would have been something.
It's very wise from Savvat, knowing that you got to...
But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter.
Is he alive?
10?
7, 8? No, it does not.
The nerf to Dark Pact really coming in big there.
I think that's the reason the deck fell off the map.
Yeah, and you can see why there. It just doesn't have enough to fight on the board. Not being able to fit in as many life taps puts you further away. Relying so heavily on Skull to try and get things moving. Buddy, we're trucking along into round number 2 of the Swiss portion of the Earthball playoffs. Currently, Savvat leads 1-0 in his series versus SilverName. And I think that's going to be a similar story for games number 2 and 3. Because SilverName has 3 decks that are very vulnerable to aggressive lineups.
Well,
and that's exactly what Savvat's bringing.
This is certainly one of the hands that gets the job done versus Odd Paladin, however.
I'd say so.
SilverName, well, yeah, there's one of the tech cards that helps, you know, not get the job done when you're playing Odd Paladin. You know, SilverName brought Cube Warlock to this tournament, and I actually think Cube Warlock was a good choice. You know, Skull the Minari, there were so many oozes for a number of months that it's just like every single time you played this deck, you just went, oh my gosh, does every deck have an ooze in it? And the answer was yes, pretty much every single deck had an ooze in it. And not because of Skull the Minari, but because of Twig of the World Tree. It was more of a splash hate situation. But now that that's sort of taken a back foot and people are focusing more on overall strategy, how do you target the weaker decks rather than the stronger ones? Weapon Destruction's out. And I think this is a great choice. It's just he's run into the lineup that gives him the most trouble. Savvat bringing full action.
SilverName actually holds on to Kobold Librarian on turn 1.
Smart.
Oftentimes it's because, well, there's a few reasons. One is he really has the tools that he needs currently. 2, Kobold Librarian's a great Defile activator if you need to get that 1 health on the board. Oftentimes it gets Paladin. It doesn't matter because they're going to be spawning 1/1s a lot of the time. But say your opponent has a board full of 3 health minions and a Righteous Protector. Then Kobold Librarian all of a sudden becomes really good.
So you're probably wondering how you got into this spot when you played a turn 2 Doomsayer versus Odd Paladin, but this is why Savvat has included 2 of these. You know, Odd Paladin thrives on generating tempo and then crushing you with that. And it's so important to keep your minions protected from the dire situations like against Doomsayer. That just runs 2 Void Reavers. Doesn't actually really have a way to take advantage of Void Reaver. It's pretty much a 3-mana 3/3. It's just that in the face of Doomsayer, in the face of Spreading Plague, you get some amount of reading.
This is getting out of hand really quick, though. SilverName doesn't really have a power turn until turn 7 at the moment.
Look at this.
And this probably unintentionally plays around the Kobold Librarian Defile.
Or around Kobold Librarian Spellstone even. Like,
yeah.
This is the kind of situation. This is weird too, because for SilverName, you know, Blood Knight was never in the metagame when you played this deck. It just wasn't there. And so now when you get into this situation, suddenly they get to use their own Argent Squire to do this. Kind of a bad spot, but you know, it's not looking too bad for SilverName right now because Savvat's hand is just quite poor, honestly.
Actually,
wait, is that lethal?
No, it's 14 damage.
Okay. I saw the raid leader draw and I was like,
yeah, if he didn't draw the Shroom Brewer, it's just lethal on board because he was at 12. He needed to heal.
Well, I mean, SilverName's going to have to take those risks throughout pretty much the entirety of the series.
Yeah.
You will constantly see him try to do everything he can to, you know, close that percentage just that little bit more.
Yeah. Now the question is for Savvat, how does he, 1, push as much damage as possible, but while 2, thinking about what removal means for his board. Is there a reasonable way?
He's thinking about, I think he was thinking about using the Blessing of Might there is really the big question. Should I push the damage now before, you know, something crazy happens?
Yeah.
Well, that's not enough either. So
he needs
to draw exactly Spellstone?
No, because Spellstone, if he taps, he can't Kobold Librarian Spellstone. It would just be 3.
Well, yeah, so you Librarian, you just hope you rip the Spellstone, right?
Oh, yeah, he has a Librarian rip Spellstone.
He's not going to do that. He's just going to hope there's no damage from hand.
But
I still think a wise play.
And that's game number 2.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yes, sir. Savvat's hand was, you know, the card he wanted.
Pretty much every
Void
turn.
Ripper, yeah.
But that's what aggressive decks do best. I mean, they're dead.
But they don't Rippy Flippy the Doomsayer.
Yeah.
That's the other thing, too, is if the Doomsayer is successful, he gets to life tap and then play Kobold Librarian on 3. Like,
yeah.
You are way ahead as the Cube Warlock if that situation actually gets to happen. That's why there's the 2 Void Rippers. You need to be able to stop your opponent from doing that sometimes.
Yeah. All right, well, we're going to move into Token Druid versus the Cube Warlock.
SilverName finally has a decent matchup.
Yeah, this one's decent because unlike the other aggressive decks, Token Druid actually gives you time. Even if they're ramping, it's still a while before they can assemble a board and just kill you. Unless they're going Wild Growth into Whispering Woods, into Savage Roar, Corn Savage Roar, and you didn't have an answer. That's like it. That's the only thing that beats you that fast as a Warlock.
Ooh, Savvat looking to get a little bit busy here with the Panthers.
I like this play a lot.
This is quite smart, I think, actually. You know, you run right into, you know, some board clears here, but again, that's not SilverName's objective this early on. He wants to get a threat online and start trucking away. And so Savvat, he's trying to do everything he can to stop this. Look, just Plague for tempo, slam the Arcane Giant and say, you better have some AoE. And the bad news is that SilverName has some AoE, but, you know, that's only bad news if you're Savvat fan. I want to see some more games. I don't know if I'm gonna, but oh, this is actually kind of interesting with the Faceless. This aggressive play from Savvat has actually taken SilverName off of the ability to just be outright aggressive with the situation.
Yeah.
It's quite smart. Yeah, maybe I spoke too soon. I promise you, if you're in SilverName's seat right now, you're going, oh my goodness.
You're dead to a Savage or
yeah.
do anything other than Defile or Dark Pact, but you're not going to Dark Pact. Well,
Branching Pass leaves you at 1, by the way, so you got to do something.
Yeah.
Oh, is this in a sequence? This is in a sequence here, I think. If he knows that, like, what card could he have drawn that would have taken away?
Yeah, because
like a Doomsayer, I guess.
Yeah, if he had tapped first, knowing that he didn't have an extra play, the Spellstone would have been drawn off the Kobold Librarian and thus buffed.
Yeah, my thought here is that I think if SilverName draws Doomsayer, he plays it here. Because he just desperately wants to buy back tempo because he's approaching his most critical turns.
Yeah.
So I actually think I like the Kobold first.
Okay.
Because I think Doomsayer changes his play. I thoroughly believe that. That is a sad Spellstone.
Yep, but he was dead if he did not Spellstone.
Yeah, you might be looking at this and wondering why doesn't SilverName play the Mountain Giant and then Defile in that situation as well. It's because Defile is starting to become pretty important for the remainder of the game.
Yeah.
SilverName feels fairly safe in this situation and knows that if there's a lot of card draw from Savvat's side and then a Soul of the Forest is played with Whispering Woods, that's pretty much his trouble spot. And so, you know, if he knows he's going to draw Lord Godfrey or that had been there, I think you probably would have seen the tempo play.
Yeah. But Savvat's starting to run out of resources really quick.
Oh, yeah.
SilverName has just been amassing resources. And he is going to take the risk here because he realizes that he doesn't die to anything, but I think double Savage Roar would have to be. Because Savage Roar Branching Paths is 10
damage.
So he'd be 2 off there. If I'm in
Savvat
Savvat's...
do it. Swipe would do it. Savage Roar Swipe.
Savage Roar Swipe would be enough, but
Seen a swipe.
he's seen a swipe, and he's only got 4 cards in hand. If I'm Savvat, this is probably the last minion I'm getting for a while.
Yeah, I mean, he needs to take a risk here.
So
if this succeeds, he's in great shape.
I'm just pushing as much aim as possible and hoping that I can draw swipe or UI before my opponent can heal.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see what Savvat does here. You know, there is a pretty dire need to actually kill this this Spirit Singer Umbra, but at the same time, you would love to push as much damage as you can here.
But if
At
you
the
kill
same
the
time,
Spirit
you'd like
Singer,
to draw with these. You'd like.
if you kill Spirit Singer Umbra here, you are almost never getting enough damage to win the game.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Waits for no one.
he's got a Spellstone, so
Okay, so he can.
Yeah.
This is a good way. This is a good mix of damage because he still pushes 8. He puts him to 4, which means a swipe off the top wins in the game, or a UI in the next 2 turns, unless SilverName draws healing. Wins
Yeah.
in the game.
And Savvat's just got to that point where he was checked on the assault, and you know he's got to put SilverName in that position where he just hopes he doesn't have it. And this one here, yikes.
Yeah.
Now the benefit here though is that you know SilverName's at 8. Now Furion makes some poison things. That threatens the Giants. Maybe it buys you the more time you need.
Yeah. But Void Lord plus Void Lord
Yeah,
plus
well,
Blood River Gul'dan.
I'm trying to put in Savvat's headspace
No,
right now.
don't
Look at
you
the game.
dare.
Don't. Okay, I won't. Don't think about what Savvat would do in this situation. This is really smart too. Just buy the extra life. Start hammering away with the hero power.
He still has a UI as an out here since there's no healing for SilverName. Ultimate Infestation off the top wins in the game.
Yikes.
that it?
Oh my gosh, a
No
huge
way.
draw for Savvat. Savvat pushed as much damage as he could. That look on the face of Savvat right now is like, well, you know, sometimes.
Yeah.
This was a tough uphill battle for SilverName. I think SilverName played it pretty well given the situations he had. He just got.
Savvat played that exceptionally well, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Not